Good evening. Sunday night live time, and for the first time ever I'm on my business page instead of my personal page because of all of the Facebook changes that have been happening recently. Lots and lots of people getting into Facebook trouble. Facebook police have been on their back, even Facebook jail, and a lot of people having their profiles completely deleted for doing business on their personal page. And I've always done a live series on my personal page on Facebook, helping women, female entrepreneurs, to make 10k days their new normal. That's just my thing. That's what I love to do. But I've stopped doing it on my personal profile, and this is now where it's at. This is going to be really strange for me tonight. Ladies, as you're logging in, give me a hashtag live if you're live. Give me a hashtag replay if you're watching on replay. It's going to be strange because normally all of you guys that watch my videos know exactly where to find me, and you get a notification when I go live, and lots of people come on and interact with me. And tonight over here, it's new territory. And I'm not expecting as many people because I know it's going to take a little bit of time for you guys to figure out where I am, etc. And I don't know if you're going to get a notification. But we will get started in a couple of minutes. Now, just on the Facebook changes, guys, if you're someone that's a business owner, an entrepreneur that's using Facebook to build your business, and you're not sure what these changes are, you're not sure how they work, how they impact you, and also how to stay out of trouble with Facebook and avoid getting your profile shut down, then if you comment on this video saying add me to your group, I can add you to my free community where I've done a full training on this so that you can find out exactly what to do through these changes, what not to do, so that you can avoid getting into trouble and actually thrive through these changes, because they're actually a really good thing. Hi Leanne, they're not here to make our life difficult. Why do not you agree to my order? Let's block that person. And this is the other thing on your business page. You have no control over who logs in, which is quite scary, but also cool at the same time. So yeah, pop in the comments, add me to your group if you want to see that training in my group about the Facebook changes and how you can navigate your way through them and actually make it a really good thing for your business. I've had so many positives that have come out of these changes, and there's no reason why it's something that you should fear or get anxious over. And I've developed a training just on that topic, which is in my free community, and you can type add me to your group now to get added in. But tonight we're talking about something different. Don't forget, guys, as you're logging in, hi Kate, as you've logged in and found me on my business page, don't forget to give me a hashtag live if you're watching live, hashtag replay if you're watching on replay. And tonight's going to be really interactive because you guys are going to be taking a test. And you're going to be taking a test live with me. A test that will show you how you can up-level your success and your income instantly. And I ran this test on my personal profile a few months ago, and the results were phenomenal. I had so many messages from ladies sharing their success with me and sharing how some people added an extra 1,000, 2,000 to their income within a couple of weeks from watching this training and implementing the things that it highlights. And that's what I want to share with you tonight. Now, to do this, I want you to be really interactive with me, because the more you share your results, the results that you're comfortable with, the more, I guess, clarity you're going to get, and the more accountability you're going to get from saying out loud, this is what I've recognised and this is what I need to do differently. And just so you're aware, every week on Sunday at 8 p.m. UK time, 9 p.m. in Spain where I am, but 8 p.m. UK time, you can find me here from now on, giving regular trainings for female entrepreneurs that are looking to build a 6- and 7-figure online business. So I'm going to be helping you make 10k days your new normal. And it starts tonight. So the success test. What I'm going to share with you tonight is an audit process. And it's an audit that I do probably every quarter, around every quarter, to really measure where I'm at as an individual, where my business is at, and also what changes I need to make going forward. And this is a standards test, because if the one thing that I know to be true is that successful people have high standards. People that earn a lot of money have high standards. They have high standards for themselves and they have high standards for their business. But we don't always know how our standards can be affecting our success. We don't always know what standards we actually have, because how do you measure it? And that's what this audit really gives you the ability to do. And what prompted me to share this the first time round came from a visit to the dentist a few months ago. So the worst place in the world to have to go. Luckily it wasn't me, it was my husband. He was having wisdom teeth out. And I took him along to this dentist, new area. We'd not long moved to Spain. And this is a private practice, right? So this is this guy's business. And when we arrived, hi Selena, hi Tiffany. When we arrived at the surgery, from the moment this scared me last time I did it. Yeah, and I'm really glad you're back here again, Lynn, doing it again, because every time we do it, we should see an improvement. So we're driving up to the dentist, and everything about this dentist was incredible. From the moment we arrived in our car at the gate, big wrought iron gates, everything was just pristine. The gates looked incredible. The trees, the plants were well pruned. And as we went through the gate and drove up to the surgery, I thought, wow, you know, this looks like a dentist that you would find somewhere in like the Hollywood Hills, or it looked really, really pristine. Hi Andrea. So when we walked into the dentist, I could just tell right away that this guy's got standards. And this is something that I look for all the time. I'm constantly looking at standards. Always, because it's something that's really important to me and something that I've recognised being one of the key things to success. And one of the key traits of a highly successful person is high standards. Hey Leona. So I was noticing these things in the surgery. I was noticing the fact that when I went to the toilet in there, it smelt amazing. And as I walked out of the toilet, there was little, in the kitchen area, there was little treats for you to pick up as you walk past, and a really nice area to make a coffee if you were waiting. And when we went into the dentist, when my husband lay back, there was a flat screen TV on the ceiling where he could watch Netflix as he was having his work done. And, you know, even the dentist, the way he dressed was white, crisp, pristine, nicely ironed. Everything screamed high standards, and it made me feel comfortable that my husband was in safe hands, and it made me feel comfortable that this was the dentist that was going to become the place that I always went, reluctantly, because it is still a dentist. But that's what high standards, I love high standards, I love your lippy are. In fact, this lippy is actually courtesy of you, Selena. Selena Robinson sent me this lipstick actually a few weeks ago to try, and I absolutely love it. It stays on all day, and I love the shade. So let me share this test with you and why. So the first reason I want you to really buy into taking this test tonight with me and fully immersing in it is because the standards that we have for ourselves show up. They always show up in our success level. They show up in our bank account. They show up in ourself in terms of our self-love, because if we don't love ourselves and have high standards for ourselves, that shows up in the way we dress, the way we look, the way we treat our bodies, and it shows up therefore in the way people perceive us and expect to be able to treat us, and it shows up in everything else that we do. The other thing is, how you do anything is how you do everything. Fact. If you're the person, for example, that maybe walks past the bin overflowing in the kitchen and doesn't take it out and procrastinates on that, you're probably the same person that procrastinates about cleaning the office, organising the diary. If you're somebody that arrives late to your home office to do your work when no one's watching, you'll probably be the same person that's arriving late to a meeting with a potential client. How we do anything, it really is how we do everything. So when we change something, when we change anything, we change everything. Really looking at standards in every area of our life helps us to up level in every area of our life. Hi Nikki. Right, and the other thing is the feeling of abundance. When we surround ourselves with things of a high standard, we feel abundant. To feel abundant is the key component to success. Because for us to have more money show up, for us to have more wealth and success show up, we need to be in a position to attract that. We need to feel the feelings of abundance for more to show up for us. Having high standards and everything around us being of a high standard helps us to feel that way. So there's lots of reasons why high standards are really important. But it's also a huge part of how people see you. Because if you're somebody that wants to attract a premium client, if you want to be able to charge your worth and niche yourself in a premium environment and charge a premium amount for your service, then you have to have high standards, because those premium clients will have high standards and they recognize low standards when they see it. So it's really, really important. Now, how this audit is going to work, I'm going to give you some questions to ask yourself, and you're going to score yourself out of 10. Now, in these sections, so there are 5 sections to the audit, and there are 5 questions in each section. Each question, you're going to score yourself out of 10. That's then going to give you an overall score for that section. So for example, section 1 has 5 questions. So you're going to have 5 scores under section 1. Now, to find your overall score for section 1 is easy. You're going to add up all of your scores and divide it by 5, because that's how many questions you've got. And it's going to give you an average for that particular section. And that's going to show you what standard you hold for yourself in that particular area of your life and how that could be impacting your success. But there's one question that I want to ask you before we dive into the audit, because this question is always really revealing, because what you'll find is the way you answer this question is probably the way that your audit tends to flow. You're probably going to see the same score show up in your audit. And the question I want to ask you is, on a scale of 1 to 10, write this down. If you haven't got a pen and paper, grab one. On a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you right now with your current income in your business? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, do you know what? If my income stayed exactly the same right now for the rest of my life, I would live like a queen. I'm happy. 1 being, something's got to change right now. Score yourself out of 10 on income. And then we're going to dive into the audit. And what you're going to notice is that score that you just gave me is going to come up for you a lot in your standards. And it's going to highlight to you certain areas of your life that you can improve to mean that that overall score in income naturally improves with it, because how you do anything is how you do everything. Okay, you ready? Awesome, Leanne. I'm really glad you just shared that. I was going to say, if you feel comfortable, I'd love you to show some accountability to this test and actually post each one in the comments. Do that by saying income 2. And then you can then say, you know, what you're getting for each one, so that if you want to go back and look at it, you can do. So Leanne, Laura, 2. Okay, so you're all starting out on a 2. We've got a 7. Keep them coming. Try and describe what it is if you can. So income 2, so that I can keep track of what you're answering as you go through. Awesome. Thank you guys for taking part. Right, let's go. So section 1 is all about you. It's about the standards that you have for yourself personally as an individual. And this is really important, because the way you treat you matters more than anything else. Because if you don't love yourself enough, if you think about from self-love point of view for a minute, if you don't love yourself enough to treat you right in terms of some of these things I'm going to ask you, how on earth will you ever love yourself enough to be paid well? How will you ever love yourself enough to give yourself an abundant, wealthy life? You won't. You'll find yourself sabotage yourself. There's lots of 2s on income coming through. So 5 questions under the subject of you. Number 1, I want you to rate yourself out of 10 for the food and drink that you consume. You know, really poor being, I don't have any conscious thought process that goes into what I put into my body. I just see food and I eat it. I wish I could eat better. I eat the wrong things. I always reach for cake instead of a banana, you know, that sort of thing. I'm not saying that you've got to be like super lean machine. I'm nowhere near that at all. This is about just consciously having a high standard for what we put into our bodies and the way we treat our bodies. Okay, so yeah, income, some people are still on income. So rate yourself now for food and drink. So you type in the chat box, food and drink, and then a score. And yes, it's out of 10. So the thing is with food and drink, this affects everything, because good stuff in, good stuff out, bad stuff in, bad stuff out. And I don't know about you, but when I have that binge time, you know, we all have it. I mean, especially once a month for us women, when the only thing you want is chocolate, the only thing you want is carbs and all of the fatty stuff. When I have that binge moment and I have a few days where I'm like feeling shit because of it, I'm never at my most productive. I'm never at my most inspired and creative. In fact, I then spend time beating myself up about that. This isn't about me saying to you, this is how you should eat, because there's no right or wrong answer to how anyone should eat. But this is about you being happy with what you put inside. Because there's nothing worse, is there, than going, oh, no, I shouldn't have fucking done that. Why have I just eaten a Big Mac, a double cheeseburger and 6 nuggets? That was overkill. Just me then. But then, you know, you then think, oh, I'm shit, I'm fat, oh, you greedy cow. And that voice starts, and that's what's not okay. You know, we need to make sure that we're happy with what we're putting in. So mark yourself out of 10 for food and drink. Number 2, exercise. How much exercise do you get? Mark yourself out of 10 for how much, you know, the standard that you have for yourself when it comes to looking after your body in terms of exercising. I am no fitness fanatic. I'm not saying to you, you're not a 10 if you don't run a marathon every morning and then do 50 laps of the swimming pool. I'm not saying that at all. I know that exercise is one of my areas of development. It's something that I have to work on personally because I don't really like it that much. But this is about, you know, you finding something that you do like and being happy with the way you treat your body from an exercise point of view. Maybe, you know, for me, it's a few laps of the swimming pool every single day that I absolutely commit to move my body. For me, it's a dance party every day. And that might sound crazy to you guys, but it gets me really high vibe. It gets the blood pumping, I'll sweat, and I actually enjoy doing it, and it powers me up for the day. What about you? Mark yourself out of 10 for exercise. Number 3, feeding your mind. Out of 10. How well do you feed your mind with the good stuff? You know, 1 being, oh, I really shouldn't watch all of those gory films on the telly and then watch the news and listen to the radio and allow all that stuff about how we're all going to die in a terrorist attack to seep into my consciousness. Maybe it's about, you know, the things you subject yourself to on Facebook. Maybe it's about the people you subject yourself to on Facebook. How well do you feed your mind with the good stuff? Because again, good stuff in, good stuff out. And, you know, the thing, we should be protecting our mind fiercely because it's our number 1 asset. It's the one thing that is the difference between success and not, because it's the thing that separates us. You know, you can learn strategy. Anyone can learn strategy. Anyone can learn a simple how-to. But having the get up and go to implement it and feel unstoppable and wake up every morning wanting to win and kill it, that comes from protecting this and feeding it with the right stuff. So how confident are you that you're feeding your mind with the right stuff? Number 4, the standards that you hold for your appearance. Now this is really interesting, because when I ask this question, I want you to think about everything, absolutely everything. I want you to go from like the tip of your toe to the top of your head and think and really look at yourself and think, what standards do I have for my appearance? Because this tells us a lot about how much we look after ourselves and how much love we have for ourselves. How much do we feel we're worth? That's what it tells us. Look at your toenails. Are they all like chipped? Haven't seen a pedicure in too long? Or are they, you know, nicely pedicured? Do we make time to do that for ourselves? Work your way up your legs. Do you have nice moisturizer, you know, that you put on and feel good when you put on? And look at our fingernails. Are they manicured? Do we take care of them? Do we feel good when we look at them? Do we feel we're worth that? Or do we let ourselves go a little bit? But look at everything in detail, everything. So teeth. Is that the thing that when you look in the mirror or you go on a live video, you think, oh, I hate looking at that? Because if it is, then let's do something about these things. This is where we can highlight these standards and go, okay, I can change this, because everything is within our control, everything. You know, when I used to do live videos, a few months ago, and I did this standard test, and I thought, do you know what, the one thing that's been coming up for me over and over again was my eyebrows. My eyebrows were getting to me. They were a little bit thin. I was in the age group, the era where it was really cool to pluck them like little, like really thin worms that were disgusting. And now it's not cool, but they don't grow back anymore. So I got them microbladed because I thought, do you know what, I can fix that. I can absolutely fix that. And what about, you know, my teeth? The other thing with my teeth was, I'm ashamed to say I used to be a smoker years ago. So my teeth were a little bit stained. I thought, well, I can fix that. I can get to the dentist. I can get teeth whitening at the dentist. And I did that, and great, fixed. It's about looking at everything and say, how do I really, really treat myself? And how does that show up for me in terms of my appearance? Number 5, your clothes, what you then put onto yourself. Go through your wardrobe and really look at this stuff and say, what standard do I hold for myself there? This isn't about you beating yourself up and going, I'm shit at everything. But this is about you recognising where there's room for improvement and just improving a little bit in each area, because it makes 100% of the difference on a whole. Believe me, it does. You know, when you start looking in the mirror and you feel a little bit happier, I'm not saying we're all going to look in the mirror and going, oh, fuck me, you're beautiful, and mean it. We might not feel like that. But if we look in the mirror and feel a little bit happier, or be able to home in on something that we've improved that we're really happy with, if we can go to our wardrobe every day and find some clothes in there that we feel really, really good in, that are high quality. You know, are you shopping in Primark, for example? You might not even be from the UK and know what Primark is, but maybe you're shopping in clothing stores that are really, really cheap, and, you know, getting loads of cheap stuff that don't make you feel amazing. Maybe there's loads of old stuff in your wardrobe that when you put it on, you're like, oh, this old thing again. Do you open your wardrobe and go, what the hell am I going to wear today? Because you don't actually like a lot of the things that you've got anymore. I'm not saying you've got to go out and get a whole new wardrobe of clothes and spend a fortune, but the difference you can make with a little bit of improvement is amazing. So one of the things I did a while ago now in standards when it came to clothes, I had a massive declutter of my wardrobe, and I thought, do you know what? I'm only keeping the things that light me up and make me feel abundant. I'm only keeping the things that represent me having high standards for myself. And I threw everything else away. Because let's face it, you know, we don't need all the clothes that are in there. We might tell ourselves we do, but we don't. I had a major declutter. And then I made some non-negotiables for myself. Things like, I'm not going to have 1,000,000 pairs of pants in my drawer that are bally and have the elastic gone in them. I'm not going to have loads of pairs of bras that are now off-white with the wire sticking out of them. I'm just only going to shop in Calvin Klein and Tommy Hilfiger from now on for my underwear. And I'm just going to have less, but I'm going to have really high quality ones that I love. And now I do that with all of my clothes. This isn't about you having to spend money that you don't have. This isn't about you having to waste money on things that aren't a priority. It's about having less, but having a higher quality. So when you put it on, you feel amazing. You feel like somebody that is a premium level entrepreneur, and you feel like you can show up behaving like a premium level entrepreneur. Rate yourself out of 10 now for clothes and having a high standard for the things that you put on yourself every single day. And then we're done with section 1. So by now you should have five questions answered and 5 scores under each question. And now what I want you to do is just get an overall score for section 1. So you do that by adding up all 5 and dividing by the amount there are. You don't have to do this bit live with me if you don't want to, but I just want to make sure you understand like how to get your overall scores for each section. So now you have an overall score for section 1. And now we're going to move on to section 2. And section 2 is all about your relationships. Because I really, really believe, and I know to be true, that the relationships we have in our life play a huge part on our ability to thrive, on our ability to get success, and our ability to up-level our wealth. For sure, relationships play a massive part. So it's really important that we have high standards there too. So question 1 under relationships is your romantic relationship. I want you to score this out of 10. 1 being maybe you don't have one because you don't attract the right partner to find the love of your life right now. Maybe you attract the wrong type of person at the moment that doesn't treat you how you deserve to be treated. Maybe you're with somebody that doesn't treat you how you deserve to be treated, and you allow that because of the standards you have for yourself when it comes to your romance and your life partner. You know, a 10 out of 10 would be, there is absolutely no room for improvement. I am totally and utterly in love, and I'm treated right, and I treat them right. And I'll say to you that I wouldn't expect hardly anyone to be a 10 out of 10 on any of these questions, so please don't feel bad if you're not. There's one question out of this whole audit that I'm a 10 out of 10 on, and that is my husband and my relationship with him. And I feel really blessed to be able to sit here and say that, but I tell you what, it's because I hadn't always had a really high standard for who I allow into my life in that way. And that's because I've seen what it's like to grow up in a relationship that's not happy. And I've also had relationships that didn't make me happy. And that meant that, oh, we've got a 20 for a husband. Well done. Amazing. You've got one hell of a man. So that standard meant that it was a non-negotiable for me. Like, I would rather be alone than not have that. And that's how I ended up attracting the man that I'm now with, who is my soulmate, my best friend, business partner, and everything else in between. So mark yourself now out of 10 for romance. Number 2 is friends. Mark yourself out of 10 for the standard you have for the people you allow to call you a friend and for you to call them a friend. And this can be our newly married, congratulations, Louise. This can be really, really difficult to face sometimes when it comes to our friends, because you're a game changer. You're a visionary, an entrepreneur that will not settle for mediocre, that wants more from life than most people. Have a look at your friends. What's the standard like there for the people that you allow in your circle? Because seriously, like, you do become the average of the people you spend your most time with. You do. You know, if you're sat in an environment with lots of people bitching, moaning, whining about their life and doing nothing about it, you can bet your bottom dollar that's affecting your ability to get success. It absolutely will be. If you have friends that tell you you can't, tell you you should quit, don't get you, try and discourage you, bitch about you, all of that stuff, then you're not a 10. So where do you fit when it comes to friends? Now, answer this really carefully, because there's always room for improvement. And I don't mean improving the people in our life, but I mean expanding who we associate with. Because, you know, I love the saying, if you're the smartest, most positive person in the room, then you're in the wrong room. And I love to surround myself with people and make new friends with people that have achieved way more than me. You know, my friends, my longtime friends are very dear to me. But I don't always want to be the person that's achieved the most. I'm like, you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be the person that's always the one giving the advice. You don't want to be the person that's always the one showing the way for other people. You need those people around you too. People that are going to force you to up level just because you're in their presence. People that you're going to learn from just by listening to. People that you almost feel a little bit scared to become friends with because you feel a bit of an imposter being in their space, you know, friends like that. And these might be classed as associates as well, but really think about that. And how do you allow friends to treat you that are already your friends? You know, are you okay with letting someone drain your time, letting someone knock your belief? Things like that. I still want to be open to making new. Yeah, absolutely. Being open to making new friends is really important. Okay, number 3, work colleagues, the people that you work with. Rate these people, and this sounds awful, but what you're not rating them, you're rating the standards you have, and you're looking at how that shows up in the people that you work with. You know, if you're somebody that's working with in your business right now in terms of clients, people that aren't a joy to work with, people that don't really want help, aren't coachable, people that drain you emotionally and leave you feeling like you don't even like what you're doing anymore, that make you question yourself, people that make excuses and don't want to get results. Because I tell you something, when we surround ourselves with people like that, maybe clients like that, team members like that, if you're in network marketing, we end up questioning ourselves. It knocks our confidence. It knocks our confidence in our ability and who we are, because we start to think, well, is it me? Is it my program? Is it my coaching? Is it this? We start to question ourselves by surrounding ourselves with the wrong people. And that can be a real drain. So, you know, I can sit here and say that all of the clients that I work with, every single woman that I work with is fucking awesome. everyone. They're a pleasure to work with. They're a pleasure to do business with. They light me up. We bounce off each other, and the vibe in my program is always really high. It's because I'm really careful about who I let in there, because I have high standards. So when I'm talking to somebody in a sales call environment, I'm not selling. What I'm doing is articulating what I do and how I can help them. But then I'm finding out if this person should be in my program. Because unless I'm sure you're going to win, unless I'm sure you're going to bring the right attitude and bring your A game to everything that we do, then I'm not sure I'm going to let you in, even if you want to come in. And that's about having high standards for everybody that you work with, because you've got to have it to give it. And if people are draining your emotions and draining your time, then you won't have it to give, and you won't have it to give your success either. Energetically, that will drain you. Number 5, I've called this other family members, because other and family members, as in other family members or other associates, because, you know, there can be other influences that we could call an associate that we don't maybe even have that much contact with, but affect our ability to have success. It could be people that are just not sat on your Facebook account, that you kind of make you want to shrink back. They come into your mind when you're about to do a live. What might they think? What might they say? Something hurtful they've said to you in the past might crop up every time you see them appear on your newsfeed, anything like that. It might be someone that you just see at a company event, or you see at regular seminars, or it could be, you know, anybody that is in your circle, because you have a relationship with everybody in your life. It could be a long distance one, a loose one, but it's a relationship, and energetically you are connected. And this is something that some of you will understand, some of you, you know, won't, but I'm not going to not share it because through fear of sounding woo-woo. But I genuinely believe that when we're connected to anybody, to somebody energetically, it has an impact on us. So, you know, for example, coaches, when you have a coach, you are connected to that person energetically. Yes, you're getting lots of value from the time you physically spend with them and the time that you spend tapping into their trainings. But even when you're not doing that, you're linked to them energetically because you pay them money every month. That's an exchange of energy, for example. Therefore, you will have a link to the insights into the way they think, feel, act. You'll notice yourself starting to up-level and model their behaviour by being energetically linked to them. It's the same with anybody else that you're energetically linked to right now in your environment. Even if it's just a quick thought as you're scrolling through Facebook and you see them and it triggers something, or it's somebody that pops into your inbox every now and then, or all of these things matter. So that's number... 4 is associates. And number 5 is other family members. Sorry guys, so 4 is associates. I've really confused you now. 4 is associates, 5 is other family members. So other family members could just be anybody that you're kind of loosely connected to in terms of family, and the standards that you hold for yourself there could be showing up in terms of how they treat you and how you allow them to treat you. So it could be, I'm trying not to give examples here because I'm aware that now I'm on my business page, anyone can see this, and I don't think there's even a way to properly block someone. But there was someone in my family that I had to cut out because, you know, although we didn't see each other all of the time, when we did have communication, it was always at the detriment to me. It was always at the detriment to my mindset. It was always in such a way that was quite controlling, manipulative, just not nice behaviour, and that always left me feeling really shit. So I had to make the decision to completely cut the cord. Now, I'm not saying that you know, that was extreme. This was like extreme emotional abuse. I'm not saying you have to do that with everybody, but I'm saying that, you know, sometimes you have to limit the time that you spend with people and increase the time you spend with the people that really light you up. Okay, section 3. So obviously, sorry, before we move on, under section 2, you're now going to have that running total for the average score for relationships by adding it all up, adding up the 5 scores, dividing them by 5, and that's going to give you an overall score for relationships. It's going to start highlighting now some really key areas that you can work on raising your standards. Section 3, self-development. The one thing that I say all the time is your income will never exceed your self-development, because it won't. If you want to earn more, you've got to be more. The one thing that somebody will never ever take away from you is what's up here, the knowledge, the skills, the person you've become in the pursuit of success. Money doesn't give you more stability. Money can disappear, you can invest it badly, you can be robbed, whatever. Money can be gone in an instant. You know, and I know that. You guys that have read my book will know my story in terms of building a 7-figure business once, losing it all, and having to rebuild a 7-figure business. So I know what it feels like to have it, I know what it feels like to lose it. And I can tell you that money in itself isn't what gives you stability, happiness, or any of those things. But what does give you that is the confidence of knowing who you've become. No one can ever take from you. I could lose everything tomorrow and I wouldn't panic. Oh, it wouldn't be very nice, but I wouldn't think this is the end of the world for me. I'm going to like live in the gutter now. I'd be like, let's go, build it again, because I can, because I've developed the skills to know that I can. And that's what gets self-development, gives you that confidence. So the next 5 questions are around self-development. Number 1, books. Mark yourself out of 10 in terms of the standard you have for the books that you read, but also how often you read them. You cannot give yourself a 10 if you buy books all the time, leave them on a bookshelf, and don't read them. Because one day you'll be lying there thinking, I'm really stuck. I wonder if the answer could be between one of the pages in that bookshelf of books that I've never read. The more you read, the more you will earn. Your income grows with your library, but not from having a library, from reading them all. But it's also about reading the relevant books. Like, don't just read books because I've said it's, and other people say it's smart to read books. Read the books that are, you know, focused on the teaching, the thing that you need to learn the most right now. For example, if you're sat there thinking, I need to get better at sales, then you would be reading sales books. If you're sat there thinking, I need to carve out my niche, then you'd be looking at reading books about niching and branding. Don't just read for the sake of reading, is the other thing. So you can't mark yourself a 10 if you, 1 a week or month, would you say? I would say everyone's different, Louise, in terms of how much you should be reading. I don't want to place an expectation on you, because I think then, you know, that might be my expectation that's not right for you. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I just think you know. I think you know if you're growing and developing at a rate that's right for the success that you want to have. I know that if I don't read every single day, then I'm breaking that commitment to myself. And that can just be 1 chapter a day. But I need to learn something new every day, because if you're not growing, you're dying. And, you know, I know that if I stop self-developing, there is a time to stop self-developing though, let me just say, when you're producing content. So if I'm developing a new program, a new course, I'll zone out of all self-development, because I don't want to be influenced by somebody else's work and end up becoming them or rehashing their work, which can happen without you even realising it. So I want to, you know, clear myself of everyone else's thoughts and just interpret my message the way that, deliver my message the way I want it to be interpreted. Okay. Number 2, lots of 4s and 5s for books. Number 2, action. Action is the best way to develop yourself. Self-development isn't all about reading, learning, studying. It's about doing, because you learn the most from doing. You learn the most from falling flat on your face, picking yourself up and going again. It's like saying, for example, reading a recipe of how to make the best chocolate cookies and saying, I get it now, when you've read it. You don't. You don't get it until you've mixed the flour, threw the chocolate in, until you've been burnt in the oven a few times cooking it, and tasted how good they taste when you finally achieve it. That's self-development. And you won't get that from any book, program, course or coach. Some of it has to come from action. It absolutely has to be action in the right place. You know whether you're taking enough action. I'm not here to tell you whether you're lazy or whether you're a work addict. I'm just here to say to you that you know. You know if you could be doing more, and you know if you procrastinate. You know if you put things off. Mark yourself out of 10 for action. Very truthful of you, Caroline. And you know what? I honour all of your honesty right now, because it's not easy to really do this test and be honest with ourselves. Number 3, coach. Mark yourself out of 10 for how your standards show up in terms of who coaches you and mentors you right now. You're a 0 if you don't have a coach, obviously. You can't give yourself any points on that. But your coach should be the highest expression of you. It should be you, where you want to be, and a representation of that in 5 years' time. That's what it should be. It should be how you see, not, this isn't saying that it's the person you want to become because you are uniquely brilliant. You don't need to become anybody, but you should be being led by somebody that you look at and think, yes, 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 in every area. Because, you know, I remember I had a mentor once that a lot of things didn't align because, yes, she had the success in terms of money, but she didn't have the success in terms of lifestyle and time. She worked herself into the ground for the money that she had, morning and night. Loads of sacrifices, more sacrifice than I wanted to make, because I have a belief that wealth is not just about money, it's about every area of your life. You're not wealthy at all, are you, if you've got $1 million in the bank but you haven't got any time to spend time with the people that you love? So that moved me away from that coach and made me recognise I now need to learn from somebody that has more balance. It's nothing against her, but it's just not for me. And the next thing, the next coach that I had wasn't aligned, because she had the success that I wanted in terms of money again, but media, and there was a lot of focus around media and being famous, but the bottom line care that she gave to the clients wasn't there for me. So I didn't want to be energetically connected to that anymore, therefore I moved on. And it's about being really, really honest about the standards that you have for yourself and how that's showing up in your coaching relationship right now. Number 4, seminars. Mark yourself out of 10 in terms of the standard of seminars that you attend. If you're not attending seminars, then 0. I'm glad there's some 10 out of 10s coming through for coaches, for the people that I'm personally coaching. I'd have been so worried and embarrassed if anybody had come up less than a 10 out of 10 and they're my clients. Okay, so in terms of seminars, this is where I marked myself down last time I did my last audit test, because I wasn't getting to enough seminars. I travel a lot, and that's always, you know, one of my biggest motivations. Building the businesses that I have has always been to see the world. So I like to be footloose and fancy free and go off and just say, right, we're going away tomorrow, and go and be able to work from anywhere. So I never like committing to things in terms of like seminars to be somewhere at a certain time. So it's a very quick fix. I just decided that I'd find seminars in locations that I wanted to travel to, like Australia and places like that, and got some booked in. What about you? How many seminars do you go to? Do you go to them? Do you go to the right seminars that are giving you the knowledge that you want, or is it just a tick box exercise? Yeah, I went to a seminar, I can say I did it, good student. Not so much if you're not getting what you want. And when you're at the seminars, are you writing notes? Are you there on time at the front of the room? I'm the geek that turns up on time. I say on time, I'm probably about an hour early, because I want to beat the rush. I want to get there first. I want to have the best seats. I've got my pen, my paper, and I don't move unless I am dying for a wee. I always send my husband out to get me lunch, because I don't want to miss a thing in case I miss that one good golden nugget that I might never hear again, or not get the opportunity to hear again. Is that your seminar experience? If so, then you're a 10 out of 10. And if you go to them regularly, then you're a 10 out of 10. And number 5 under self-development is other. Because this could be, you know, anything else that you know you need to do to develop yourself personally that you could be doing better at. You know, this could be in terms of I need to develop more in my meditation technique. I need to develop more in terms of being mindful and switching my mind off. I need to develop more in terms of buying programs that are specific to the skills that I need to develop, whatever it is for you. Mark yourself out of 10 for other. And then we're done with section 3. 2 to go. Section 3, you should get an overall score now for your average on section 3. Number 4 is home, because this is your environment. Your environment is everything in the pursuit of success. It determines the way you feel on a daily basis, and it affects you more than you know. Probably more than you know until you change it, and then you start to realise how much your environment needed work. Okay, so we're going to talk home, because mainly I teach people to build an online business from home. So I'm guessing that you guys, your environment is mainly home. And even if it's not, the home environment is still massively important, no matter where you're building your business from. Number 1, furniture and decor. How do your standards show up in the furniture and decoration of your house? Really look at it. Just look around for a second, wherever you are, and ask yourself, does everything look of a high standard? You know, the sofa or chair that you sat on, do you absolutely love it? Is it a high standard? Is it does it look taken care of? Is there wallpaper peeling off that you've not dealt with? When you open the cupboard door, does the handle fall off and you just don't make the time to screw it back on? Or is there little things that tell you about your standards in your environment? Because shoddy standards gives you shoddy results, period. And they show up everywhere, because how you do anything is how you do everything, and that's why we need to drill into this stuff. So I moved home recently, about 5 months ago now, and I made a decision that I wasn't going to buy anything that I didn't absolutely love, that wasn't of the best quality in terms of quality for money. So I don't mean that I had to go and decorate my home by Fendi and that was all that would do for me. I'm really not, that's not really my style, but it was about having the best quality in exchange for my money, because that's showing money respect as well. And if we show money respect, more shows up for us. But everything I needed to love, everything. And it took me a lot longer to decorate my house. It took me a lot longer to find the perfect sofa and everything, but I loved doing it. And now, whenever I get up in the morning and I open my eyes and the first thing I do is go over my gratitudes, I can't help but feel so freaking abundant, because, I lie in bed and it's the big bed that I wanted, with these sheets that I wanted. And that, I'm not saying that everything's expensive, I'm saying it's got to be high standard. And whatever high standard means for you, because if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you see, subconsciously this happens, is these little things that piss you off. And suddenly you just feel less than high vibe, you don't feel very abundant. Do you really believe that, I'm capable and I'm unstoppable and I'm going to be a millionaire, when you're walking down the hallway and the wallpaper's falling off and your feet are sticking to the carpet? No. Does it make you feel what you're saying to be true? And that's why our environment's really, really, really important. Number 2, cleanliness. The cleanliness and tidiness of that environment. That says so much about standards. I am really judgy. Not in a bad way. No one's ever going to invite me to their house now. But I judge people on their standards, I do, because it tells me everything about them. Not in a judgy way as in I look down on people, as in it just gives me an insight, and I think that's fascinating. I am fascinated by people and the way they do things. But if I go to someone's house and I go to their toilet, do you remember that advert that used to come on the TV years ago and it said, "What does your loo say about you?" That advert is gold, because it's true. What does your loo say about you? If you're going to have a look in your bathroom and when you walk in, does it smell like? And you pick up the toilet, the toilet lid, what does it, what's it do? What's it look like? What does your loo say about you? But then ask yourself that everywhere in your house. What does your bedroom say about you in terms of cleanliness and tidiness? What does your office say about you? Have a look at all of it. Look at your workspace. Look at in drawers, open drawers. This is the thing, those drawers you open and there's keys in there and you have no idea what the keys open anymore. Batteries, we don't know whether they're used or not. Those drawers, what do these areas say about you? Number 3, the garden. Have a look at the garden, go out there, take a good look around and say, what does my garden say about my standards? Is the bin, and all the bins out there down some alleyway somewhere all overflowing, and is what are the plants doing? The garden, is it overgrown? I have a gardener do mine. I do, because I'm not green fingered at all. But I'm not saying you've suddenly got to turn into that person. It's just about looking at the standards of everything and saying, okay, I see it. And you're going to start seeing patterns at this point throughout the test. You're going to start seeing where, okay, I get it now and I can see where my standards have been and where they probably need to be. Number 4, your car. This is a great one. Whenever someone gives me a lift, I always look at this. So from the outside, have a look at it. Does it need a good clean? Could we draw on it? Clean me. When you open it, what does it say about your standards? When you get in, the boot. Is there things hanging out in the boot that have been there for ages? Does it need a good hoover? Does it smell a bit? Or is it, like it's brand new? Is that how we take care of it? And then lastly, number 5, our work environment. And this matters the most, because this is where you're actually working in your zone of genius. This is where you need to be the most creative, inspired, motivated. And you won't be if the standards aren't high where you're working. Look at the desk, look at the drawers, look at the chair you sat on. If you sit on your office chair, does the one wheel go? Are you working from a great computer, etc., etc.? the pens, the diaries, everything. Look at it all and ask yourself, what does this say about the standards that I hold for myself? Number 5, business. Let's get into the business standards. Number 1, Facebook. This is huge. I'm really hard on my clients when it comes to social media because I know the importance of it. You cannot be a 7-figure earner attracting clients that will pay you 6 figures to work with them and have low standards on social media, because it's the first thing people see. And we're living in the 21st century. We're in the age of social media, the age of technology. It's never been easier to build a business online than it is right now. It's never been more exciting to be in business than it is right now. It's never been more exciting than it is to be alive right now. But we've got to take full advantage of these opportunities. Look at your Facebook, your cover picture, your profile picture. Is it pixelated? Like, these little things say things about you. And if I notice it, other people notice it. Premium clients notice this stuff. The high standard of person you want to attract notices this stuff. Spelling mistakes. And also, you know, that kind of just, oh, fuck, what do I post on Facebook today? Shit, I'll just do a quote. It's lazy, and people know that. They sniff through that bullshit. Is it well thought out, well delivered content that appeals to your ideal client with the highest of standards? I'm not saying you're not allowed to make a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. But seriously, look at it and say, come on, how can I be slicker, better, smarter at this stuff? How can I have a higher standard so that when people check me out, they actually want to work with me? You know, I look like somebody credible. Number 2, equipment. The equipment that you use in your business. Have a look at that and ask yourself, is it the right equipment, the best equipment for my business? If I'm, you know, going after a huge following on Instagram and I'm taking pictures from a camera that just doesn't produce high quality enough pictures, then I need a new camera. That would, you know, you would mark yourself down. What about, you know, I'm trying to develop this huge brand with the right colours, the right font, so I represent me and my brand everywhere, and everybody recognises it when they see it, but I haven't gone out and bought the stuff for the branding yet, for example. Are you working on a computer that's so old and slow that it frustrates the fuck out of you every time you go to work? Think about all these things when you're marking yourself out of 10. Number 3, planning, because this is a really big deal, and you will notice your standards show up so much in your results if the standard of planning isn't there. Because I'm not going to say something cliche like, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, because I fucking hate that quote. But I will say this: success happens by design. It happens with structure, and it happens with a really well thought and well executed plan of action. If you go into your week every week not knowing what a successful week needs to look like, when each thing is happening hour by hour, you'll get to the end of the week having a wasted week. You can either have a lucrative, productive week or a wasted week, and you get to choose. Every week you get to choose. But planning, when I say planning, I mean meticulously organised. Because seriously, like, if you want to build a millionaire lifestyle, then you've got to get serious about this. There's no point in playing small and acting and planning like somebody that wants to earn minimum wage, because it's showing up in your standards of planning, so it's showing up in your bank account. Are you sitting down every Sunday? For me, it's Sunday. Every Sunday, diary, brainstorming pad. I've got 2 diaries, one for my Facebook social media content, one for my actual meetings that I'm going to be having, and one for other things that I need to create. It's like a military operation. I'm not saying there's any right or wrong way of doing it. You do you. It's just that, you know, the way I plan. But it's every hour. When, you know, when am I doing this? When am I doing that? What are my objectives for the week? What do I need to have achieved by the end of this week? When am I planning that activity in? Leave no stone unturned when it, you know, leave nothing to chance when it comes to your success. 4, your prices. This says a lot about the standards that you have. It says a lot about how you view yourself, your self-worth. Are you charging your worth right now? I can't count the amount of people that say to me, oh, I know I need to put my prices up. And then they do that. All the time. I know I need to charge more for what I do, but I don't. Why? What you're charging for your service right now says an awful lot about your standards for you. Because you know, what's really interesting, last time I was looking for a coach, not so long ago, I decided that I wanted a new coach to teach me very specific things. And I went on the hunt for a coach. And I'd got a few names in mind already, people that I'd probably kind of been following their training and stuff. And then I booked in some discovery calls back to back. And some of them were really cheap. And it put me off instantly because I thought, no, it can't be right. It can't be right. It can't be, because you'd be charging more and you'd have a higher standard for yourself. And if you don't, you can't teach me the things that I need to learn. I'm less inclined to go with something cheap every time because I have high standards. And if you're attracting a client that has high standards, they're going to be less inclined to go with something that's cheap every single time. But also, just on that, you know, there's a lot of work to do to become, you know, a premium brand. And I'm not saying it's okay to just boost your prices up, call yourself premium, that's it, that's it, then it's in everything that you do, and you have to really think about that. Number five of section 5, so the last question, is productivity. Mark yourself out of 10 on productivity, because what's really common is people saying, I've been so busy all week and I've not achieved anything. I don't even know what I've done. How much have you earned? Nothing. I've been really busy and I've earned nothing. I've been really busy and I've generated no sales. So it's about productivity. It's about working smart, not working long hours. You know, I have the best life. Honestly, I do. I know I'm blessed as fuck, because I work smart in a small amount of hours every day. But when I do work, I'm really on task on what I need to work on, and then I have loads of downtime, loads of time for holidays, loads of time for, you know, time with my family, etc. And that's what's important, but you only achieve that with productivity. It's not about working really, really hard and really, really long hours. It's about working really, really smart. So do you get lost on Facebook newsfeed? Right, I'm meant to be doing this. Oh, an hour's gone by and I've just been looking at what everyone's had for dinner, sort of thing. Does that happen to you? Or I'm going to go and put a load of washing in, but you're meant to be doing sales, you know, generating leads. Yeah, but after this. Is that you? Be really honest. Okay, so productivity hack for you, if that is you: set alarms, have power hours where you set a specific objective for 1 hour, set an alarm, and you're not allowed to move until that alarm goes off. I call that a power hour. Because, you know, we all get, there's so many distractions these days, you know, notifications pinging, emails pinging, all of that jazz. So it's natural to get distracted, but you can eliminate it with power hours and alarms. Okay, that's the standards test. Now, what you're going to do is work out your overall score for each section. I'm just making sure I haven't missed anything. Okay, but what you're not going to do is then get really overwhelmed with this information. So what I want to help you do now is kind of turn this into an action plan. And you might be looking at this going, oh shit, I've got so much to do now. I've got so much to work on. I've got these 5 things under 5 sections that aren't 10s out of 10, so they all need work. I wouldn't necessarily recommend attacking it that way. This isn't for you to feel like overwhelmed now and feel like you've got a mountain to climb. This is for you to develop a new normal, a new discipline where you do this on a regular occasion and you just increase those standards a little bit every time. Because honestly, a little bit makes 100% of the difference. Huge. So I'm going to give you an example of what happened when I did my last standards audit. There's a few things that I picked out that stood out to me right away. So I've got my scores here from my last one. I marked my income an 8 out of 10 on my last one. And I marked it an 8 out of 10 because honestly, like, I would die happy if I stayed at the same level of income that I'm earning right now. I would. I'm very, very grateful, hugely. But I know I'm capable of more. And it becomes like a breaking through glass ceiling game that I like to play. So I rated an 8 because there's definitely room for improvement. And when I then looked at my scores, what was really interesting is the ones that, most of my scores came out 8, 9. But there was a couple of areas that were well below that average. And they're the ones that I really homed in on as a priority. And here's what they were. The first one at the time was me, the way I treated me, my standards for myself. What had happened was I'd let that slip. I'd been focused on building and working and having fun, and I'd kind of just let me slip a little bit. And that's where I started to do the audit on myself and was like, okay, I'm going to go and get my eyebrows on fleek. I'm going to have microblading. I'm going to go and have my teeth whitened. I had extensions put in. I did a few things that instantly improved my score a little bit. And the impact was incredible because I felt more confident. I felt just happier. I'd got a spring in my step. When I get up in the morning and look in the mirror, I felt happier with what I saw. That obviously comes across in the way I come across and how happy I am to show up, and social media presence increases. It has a huge impact. So that was the one thing that I picked out there. The second thing I picked out was pulling my score down a little bit, was business. And there was just one thing on business, which was equipment, because I wasn't happy with the photos that I could take for my branding, and I wasn't 100% happy with my Facebook because of the pictures. So a really quick fix, we bought a camera. And that improved the score there a little bit, which had an impact on my branding, which made it sharper, which made me more excited to show up and deliver more content. And they were just two things that took my income to the next level. Now, when I did it the time before, the one thing that came up over and over again was environment. This was before I moved house. Environment was just not good anymore. I didn't live in a bad environment. I'd outgrown it in terms of my standards. And it didn't light me up anymore, and I knew it was time to change. And I did something radical. I moved house. I actually moved place. Like, I moved from Lanzarote to mainland Spain to Marbella because I knew I'd have, you know, Lanzarote is an incredible place. It really is, but it doesn't have the same standard of life as it does in Porto-Banús. I knew I was ready for a change. That had a huge impact. You know, I trebled my income when I moved house. In the first month of living here, trebled my income because I felt pumped. I'm not saying you've got to move house and do something as extreme as that, but I'm saying pick out the areas that are going to make the biggest difference and really focus in on them. Pick out the areas that need the serious amount of work and focus in on them. And just leave the others for a while, don't worry. Because what will happen is you doing that and just being more aware of your standards, you'll notice them keep improving. And just do this test every quarter or so and notice how it evolves and changes, and how your life evolves and changes, how your income and your success evolves and changes as a result. Don't go away feeling like you've got a lot to do. Please go away feeling like you've got some clear direction on how you can increase the standards that you've got for yourself and your income, but also how you can constantly review this process and make the whole thing a new normal of just having high standards. And that's the standards audit. Thank you for taking part, guys. Thank you for just like throwing yourself at this and being really open and honest as we've been going through it. Like I said before, if you want to get access to my group so that you can get the other training that I do every week. So I do one here every week on Sunday now. This is the place to be. Making 10K days your new normal, bringing you something different every single time that will help you to grow. You've also got my group, Miss Moneybags, which just say add me to your group if you want to be in there, and there's lots of other videos and stuff going on in there. It's the place to hang out for female entrepreneurs that are looking to build a 7-figure business. And that's it from me tonight, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening if it's evening for you. If not, enjoy the rest of your day. I love you. Mwah.